Hi, this is Andrew, and I recently shared with you guys an article on 7 group coordinator roles to get people in your group serving and contributing back to the community of your group through their time, talents, and treasure. And the article included a title and job description for each coordinator role. Now, I wanted to share real quick from my group. I recently began this process of building coordinators into the group life that my wife and I host. And we currently now have 3 people that are serving as coordinators in our group, with a few more people who are interested in jumping in as well. A few weeks ago, I had to host the group by myself because my wife was out of town. Now, typically my wife assists me with the details of each group meeting, but now, since we had established 3 coordinators before this upcoming meeting, the night my wife was out of town ran very smoothly because I didn't have to host it by myself, because now we had group coordinators. The meal that we typically eat with our group was organized. There was communication and ministry happening to our group. And again, it was happening without me having to do it all by myself. So I want to encourage you, if you haven't already checked out that article, 7 group coordinator roles, make sure to check it out. But in this video, what I want to share with you is 5 steps that I took that are practical and user-friendly ways to use the My Emmanuel app to get this process going. Because once you have the group coordinators, now you have to figure out a way to integrate them into the life and functionality of the group. So here's a couple things I did. The first thing I did was make a verbal announcement at the end of one of our group meetings. I said, guys, I'm going to be sharing with you via email some ways that you can get more involved in our group as coordinators. And I shared a few of the titles. You could be a communications coordinator. You can be a snack and food coordinator. I shared just a handful of them. And I told them to read over it and consider signing up to be a coordinator. After that, I made that announcement the next day. I took those 7 coordinator roles, the title and job description, I copied and pasted it into a message through My Emmanuel. Again, if you haven't used the group message feature in My Emmanuel for your group, it's a very user-friendly way to communicate with your group. So I copied and pasted that info in there and told everyone to read and check it out and consider thinking about becoming one of these group coordinators. After I sent that out, I then went into the group in My Emmanuel, and you can do this from the app or in the desktop version, and I created a needs list or a group needs list. And in the group needs list, I just simply created the 7 group coordinator titles. I didn't put in all the job description and everything in that because I had already sent that out in the email. And I created those 7 coordinator roles, and I already had one person who said they were interested. Verbally through a text, they had sent me that they were interested in being the snack and food coordinator, so I designated them for that. But then you can push that message out then to the whole group once you create that need list. So I pushed that out to the whole group, and then I had 2 more people sign up for other roles as well. So right off the bat, with very little effort, I had 3 coordinator roles that people were interested in serving in within our group. And since then, I've had a few more people interested in some of the other roles as well. And so once I had that, now I had to figure out, once I had people who said they were willing to serve and I trusted them to serve in these ways, I had to figure out how to get them into the functionality of the group, because they don't have all the contact info and they don't have they just don't have all the resources I have in My Emmanuel as a group host. So after looking into My Emmanuel, what I discovered, and I think you can only do this in the desktop version. I don't think you can do this in the mobile version from the Lead app. But in the desktop version of My Emmanuel, I went into my group roster there, the members, and I was able to designate certain group members as assistant leaders. Now I need to make a note here. The term assistant leaders is not a term that we're using. The assistant leader status is something that's designated by the database, which is Church Community Builder, which we call My Emmanuel. And so that is the terminology they use in the database. We're using the terminology when we're communicating and talking about it, group coordinator. But for the functionality of the database, what you can do is you can designate, I believe it's unlimited, you can designate as many assistant leaders in your group as you need. And so each person that signed up to be a coordinator, I designated them as an assistant leader. So for example, now that I had a communications coordinator, once I designated them as an assistant leader, I could then, they could then have access to communicate with the group. because now they had different privileges within the group as an assistant leader. So obviously you need to make sure that these are trustworthy people that you can share this info with. Another example would be the birthday and anniversary coordinator. They need to know that the birthdays and anniversaries are, but if I make them an assistant leader, they then had access to all that information. So these need to be trustworthy people. If they're new people, you don't know them, you don't have a lot of relationship with, you might not want to give them these assistant leader privileges right off the bat. You might need to find either a different way to have them be a coordinator, or you might need to hold off on them being a coordinator until you get to know them better. So I set them up as assistant leaders, which changed their privilege permissions within the My Emmanuel group of our Connect group. The last thing I had to do is one-on-one, and I just did this after the group meeting. I didn't set up another meeting. I just talked with them before and after each group meeting, is I walked them through the process of downloading the Lead app onto their smartphone. Because what I have found as a group host is anything I can do from my phone, it's a lot more convenient. I can be a lot more repetitive with it, and I use it more versus having to open up my laptop and log in to My Emmanuel and find my group and then do it all from there. So I showed them how to download the Lead app, and one of the questions that they had right off the bat was, hey, Pastor Andrew, now I've downloaded the Lead app, but now how do I log in? And what I didn't realize is they hadn't connected the dots that the Lead app is the same as the My Emmanuel database. And so I had to explain to them, hey, the way you log into My Emmanuel is the same way you're going to log in to the Lead app. And so just in review, to give you those 5 steps, is I made a verbal announcement. I sent out a group message through My Emmanuel with the job descriptions and titles. I then set up a needs list with those 7 coordinator titles. The people who signed up to be coordinators, I designated them in the group as an assistant leader. And then lastly, I guided them to download the Lead app so that they could have a higher level of convenience in performing their tasks and duties. And I can just tell you already, I feel a lid lifted over me and my wife and our group because we have more people helping. And again, there's more ministry and communication and care happening in our group because we have group coordinators now. So I hope you find this helpful. I hope between the article and this video, we can see our groups get more people involved to get people activated in their time, talents, and treasure, to get them going from just being a group participant to a coordinator, which is a discipleship transformation process of just being an awakened disciple to a growing disciple, as well as getting you some needed assistance and support as group host too. So I hope you find this helpful, and we'll talk to you soon. God bless.